Tammy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good. Thanks for being on the podcast with me.
Absolutely.
I know. It's Easter tomorrow.
I know. It's
Any
crazy.
plans at all?
Just going to take it easy.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I know. Kids are all grown up now.
I don't have to play Easter Bunny anymore.
Yeah, and they're doing whatever they do. So, it's not the same anymore. You don't have to do little, what do they call Easter egg hunts and stuff like that. It's crazy.
It is very weird. Strange.
It's getting weird. Anyway, so tell me something. I mean, I love that you come to Rage Fitness. I love that you've been training here for a while and doing your thing, and you look great. You've gotten great results, over the years and everything else. How long ago, or let me ask you this, what made you start your fitness journey?
All right, so I think it was about 5 years ago. I kind of felt myself slipping away.
What do you mean slipping away?
Like I was starting to lose it. There was too much in my life that I felt I was starting to not be able to handle.
Oh, okay.
So I needed to change something. My health wasn't good. My blood pressure was through the roof. My weight wasn't good. And my diet certainly wasn't good as well. And something had to give.
Yeah.
And I knew for me it wasn't necessarily a physical change I was after, but it was more of a mental challenge of starting to gather myself and being able to handle the things and the pressure that I was under.
Right.
So I came here I think it was about 2 years ago.
So how'd you learn about this anyway? I learned about, Rage Fitness, whatever.
I actually saw you on Facebook when you would post your
the motivational
motivational quotes, things
yeah.
like that. And that is something that I felt. And I always wanted to come here because I felt like I could connect to your program that way, because what you were posting is what I felt as well.
What you're feeling,
And so it was too far away for us as a family for me to drive out here at the time, but it came to that point where it's like I needed something, and I needed it for me. At the time I was married, and my husband worked out a lot, but his plan didn't work for me.
Right.
I needed something that was going to fit my well-being and what I was seeking to find for myself.
Right. I get that. Well, we connected immediately though.
Yeah.
Especially once you said you were a former Marine. I was like, hey. I was like, you're my sister.
Yes, right.
You're my sister. We're in the same family.
And when I saw boot camp, I must have been out of my mind to say, let's do that. Put myself through that again.
Hey, it was good though. It was good.
It was really good.
I'm just I'm just very glad that you did start coming here and everything else. You know what I mean, and that you still remain here, and that I get to see you every day.
I know.
Or at least Monday through Friday. We're not teaching.
That's right.
So how do you juggle that anyway? Yeah, like you're teaching, and then you're training. How do you juggle that? Your schedule. With your schedule?
It's something I can't think about.
Okay.
Otherwise, I won't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I come early in the morning.
Yeah.
Most days, and I just have to pop up and go, because if I put too much thought into it, then it won't happen.
Right.
It's kind of, I've heard that 5-second rule. If you get up and do it within 5 seconds, there's no stopping you. But
somebody wrote a book about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And therefore, I just pop up and go.
Wow.
Which is the reason I look the way I look when I get here.
That's okay. You know what? I've never read the book, but I mean that rule, that 5-second rule. I never read the book, but I use it. You know what I mean? For me, I just do it. You know what I mean? I get up. But I never read the book, but I heard of it, and I want to read it, because it might stop me from procrastinating in other areas.
Yes, it's definitely helped me as far as the things that I do.
Right.
If I put something out there, then I'm more capable of getting to that point where I put it into action.
Yeah.
So
Do you prefer the weight training over cardio, or cardio over weight training, or what?
weight training
You
all
like the
the
weight
way.
training? Okay, good,
Yes.
good. Building that lean
Cardio's
muscle.
great, but weights for
Yeah.
me are the metaphorical, you know, lifting
I get
things,
it.
and I don't know how to put that other than just overcoming the odds of something that is
I
heavy.
get it. Yeah, it pushes you.
Yeah.
Pushes you differently. You know, I like the challenge of, you know, lifting something heavy, or lifting something that may not be so heavy, but doing so many reps with it.
Yeah.
And then the pain
That's a
that comes
great
with
pain.
it. I know. That's cool.
That's the kind of pain I can handle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you eat differently now? Or I mean, you said before, you know, you knew that your nutrition wasn't so good. So have you changed a lot in that area?
I've tried. I don't eat as many carbs as I used to. I used to eat bread constantly.
Right.
That was just daily for me.
Right.
And so I watched that. I tried to eat more meat. I'm not a big meat person, so that was a challenge for me.
Okay.
And you and I have talked before. I'm a huge snacker. I don't like meals,
Right.
but trying to focus on, okay, I have to make a meal
Yeah. Yeah.
and more water.
Right. Right.
I still have my Dr. Pepper. That's still my vice,
You
but
know what? That's okay.
I have to have my one thing. I feel like I'm not ready to give that up yet, but water has been huge, making sure I try to drink a gallon a day at least.
And that's good.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's okay to have something like that, you know, your Dr. Pepper, your whatever. I have, most Friday nights, I have a large pizza. That's what I do. And I don't share my pizza, just so y'all know. I have my large pizza to myself. But what people, I mean, I think sometimes people get so caught up into this whole thing that they make it so strict and make it so hard, then you don't want to continue doing it. It's so hard to continue doing, and you don't want to. And I try, you know, to encourage people to not do that. Just have things in moderations.
Right.
You know, and that's what works for me. And really, that's what works for most people once they learn it.
Right, because
So-
life is life. Your schedule's going to get in the way.
Right.
You have to look forward to some things once in a while.
Exactly, and you gotta enjoy it. It's your
Exactly.
life. You gotta
It's
enjoy
short.
life. Yes, none of us is getting out of here alive.
That's right.
None
Whether
of us
you
is
eat
getting
a
out of here
pizza or
alive.
not.
Exactly. So you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy it. You know, to a degree, but you know, there's moderations in that. Enjoying
Right.
it too.
It
you
could,
know?
for me, it couldn't become my comfort. And I think
Okay.
a lot of times it was my comfort. So, yeah. And there were times, honestly, I wanted to put on weight and kind of be obscure, nobody look at me.
Yeah.
And so that's no longer there.
That's
I've
good.
conquered that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't get that. We got our subconscious mind and we have our conscious mind. And I talk to people about this all the time, about a lot of times people won't get the results that they want because of the change. And they, you know, I think most people think I'm talking about the change that they have to do consciously. Like, I have to eat different, I have to move different, I have to, you know, whatever different. And what I'm usually talking about is the change that happens that they don't even recognize is happening.
Yeah.
People start talking to you differently. People start looking at you differently. People start interacting with you differently, and things like that. And that change sometimes triggers things with people subconsciously, and it makes you resort to going back to old habits or creating different habits or whatever, because that change has happened and it's not comfortable to you.
Yes.
So you want to get back to that comfort zone, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's crazy that, so when you said that, you know, you sometimes you would eat whatever to get to a place where you were comfortable, because that change was happening, but probably people were looking at you differently and talking to you differently, and maybe you know, doing things different, and it just wasn't comfortable.
I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I've seen people like start leaning down, what they consciously want, leaning down, losing weight, losing fat, whatever. And people start talking to them differently and so on and so forth, and it's just not comfortable for them. And they gain that weight back, or they gain that fat back, because this was their comfort zone.
And I think it's because they haven't dealt with whatever they've needed to deal with.
Exactly, exactly.
A lot of the internal conversations that take place within.
Yeah.
You have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And be comfortable with that first. Like I said, when I came here, it was more of a mental journey than a physical journey.
Yeah.
The physical journey was just a wonderful byproduct.
Right.
And when those things, people say to me now, is, in fact, last week, someone stopped me in the store and they said, "Oh my gosh, you look radiant." Or "You're glowing. Are you pregnant?" I'm like, "No, definitely not." So they are seeing not only that physical change, but the change that's coming from within.
Now, I love that you said that. I love that when we spoke together, and your story is amazing. And we're not going to go into it, but your story is amazing. It's a hard story to hear. So I know it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Because it's a hard story to hear. And your journey dealing with that, I knew when you came here, because we had talked about it, how, you know, mentally and emotionally it was a challenge for you, you know what I mean? But what was I was going to say? I remember telling you at one time that I could see when it changed in you. I was like, "You look healthy," because you had already leaned down. You were already You had already leaned down and got fit, but still, you could tell you weren't where you wanted, where you were supposed to be.
Right.
And I'm talking from the outside looking in. You know what I mean? Because people in here even comment on, "Wow, look at Tammy, look at her legs, and look at how lean you were, and this and that." And you know, especially Kiri and Caitlin, they would always talk about you. You know, look how lean she is and everything else. But you still didn't have that look that you have now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
You just look healthy now. You look healthy. You know what I mean? Like. And maybe it's just.
No, it took
maybe
a
it's
lot
just
of
your
work.
Aura. Maybe it's just your, you know, what's going on around you. But it's like a healthiness around you now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
just different.
I was thinking about, my life has seemed like water. And what I mean by that is me personally being that water. It's either created life and healingness, or it's created chasms, frozen chasms, and whatever emotion I was in, I could see that becoming part of my life. And if I was in a good place, then I was willing to heal other people. And have that flow, I guess, like that. And when I wasn't, I was very distant. And that's how I started. When I was here, I was distant emotionally. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy how you know, you wear that. You know, I mean, people, but I'm talking about people in general. But how you wear that, you know, even though, I mean, you can see it on the outside. The way someone's feeling on the inside, you can see it and feel it. I mean, you know, you can see it when you look at you. So I could tell I was like, you look healthier. You look something.
And it was never about weight, like you
Yeah,
said.
I was gonna say you probably didn't even physically change from the time I didn't say that to the time I said that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, I've gained some weight back, but now I think it's not stress related
Right,
weight loss.
right.
It's now I'm comfortable
Yeah, yeah,
and I feel good.
yeah, and that's good.
So
That's
yeah,
good.
it's a great place to be.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you're still enjoying the journey, though.
Oh, it's
Good.
it's a journey every single day.
Yeah.
And because I went through what I went through, I still have those days where I don't want to get out of bed.
Right.
There are days that are still a battle.
Uh-huh.
But coming here, exercising gives you more of what you need to kind of overcome those days. And if I miss them, it hurts.
Yeah, yeah.
It hurts.
And we're lucky. We've been blessed. We have an environment here. The people here, the environment here is, I don't know, I think it's a nurturing environment.
Absolutely.
Everybody, helps everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great environment. We goof around.
You goof around.
But
yeah.
when you could see someone struggling, you go in, you lean
Yeah.
in and say, what do you need?
Yeah.
I've had wonderful interactions here and
Yeah.
from people who genuinely concern about you.
Exactly.
But it's, most of the time we're just like, hey, what's up? And we do our thing.
And a lot of
we
times
just be.
Yeah. And a lot of times from people who you wouldn't think it would be coming from too. I mean, or me, if I was looking at somebody and maybe judging them like I shouldn't, but if I'm looking at them like, man, they're actually a good person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got good people here. I love it.
We really do.
I love that, the environment here. So you've come a long way. You've come a long way. I mean, physically, mentally, emotionally. What has helped you? What has helped you do that? Because when you came out and spoke with me that one time, I mean, that's the first time I'd heard your full story. Mm-hmm. Why? What made you think that you could, start sharing that?
Because I was comfortable from within now. I had gotten the courage,
right?
The validation I needed, and I felt again like that water was boiling within me, and it was either going to destroy me or I needed to speak out.
Yeah.
And so basically that was it. That was my moments where I felt I needed my justice.
Yeah.
And I don't mind saying what I've been through. I don't always go into detail. It's who I'm with, but I feel there needs to be more women like me who speak up, because we live in an environment where we feel like we need to be more submissive. We need to be more meek.
Yeah.
And that was a struggle with me. I feel like my own yin and yang.
Yeah.
Because I was a Marine. I had this persona of what was expected of me. And yet, because of what I went through, I felt so horribly weak. And I couldn't, in my own head, put those two things together.
Right.
And once I realized that I was strong, I was valuable, and things that happen to us, they can either break you down or you can use that pain for purpose. Right. And I've chosen to use my pain for purpose.
For purpose, yes, and I love that you do
Yeah.
too. A lot of people still talk about. I just had somebody the other day. I told you about that. Somebody the other day just said to me that I wanted to come and listen to Tammy's talk, you know. And then other people, have said things to me about it anyway. What's your, other than here, having a gym and people here that, support you for sure, but what's your support system been like? Do you have a support system?
I still have my Marine buddies.
You still have your Marine buddies, yeah.
I have my best friend since 8th grade, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have been through this whole journey with me.
Oh, really? Okay.
The entire thing. They know. They've been there. They've walked with me.
Right.
They've picked me up when I've needed picking up.
Right.
They had my back when I couldn't even have my own. They did. They were there.
Good.
And I am blessed because I have them in my life.
Yeah.
They haven't judged me. I've never worried about them holding something over me.
Right.
And though they're not close by, I talk to them all the time. And it's been the best thing for me to have someone know where I've come through and been through the entire journey.
Yeah.
And to see me now and to see that they're proud of me,
Yeah.
And to have seen what I've done and the small things that I've been able to do.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's a heck of a journey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you go through something, it's a heck of a journey that, people just don't understand. People just don't understand and don't get.
Yeah.
You know.
But I'm ready to release a lot of that because there was so much shame and guilt and misunderstanding and all that that I didn't need to ever hold on to.
Yeah.
But I had for so long.
So you're telling me you want to speak again? Is that what you said? You want to?
It's hard to speak.
Do you want us to put something together?
Oh, it is hard to speak, but I feel like if I'm silent, I don't win.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? Not only that, I think not only you don't win, but we don't win either.
Yeah, because my whole point is to help other people.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, I think, so many people are closed books, you know what I mean?
Yes.
They keep things to themselves and by all means, if that keeps them going, then I'm all for it, you know what I mean? Because I want them to be healthy too, mentally, emotionally, physically, or whatever. But there's so many people that could benefit from just people being vulnerable, like when you made yourself vulnerable. There's so many people that could benefit from that.
Right.
But I think some of us are so maybe prideful, or we think that our journey, our struggles is more detrimental than somebody else's or something like that, or it's just so different, or it's just maybe embarrassing or whatever, and we don't share it. We don't share it. So we don't give other people an opportunity to learn from it.
Yeah.
And grow from it. And so I'm glad that I'm glad that you were, brave enough to put it out and, share it with us when when you spoke with me, and and I'm glad that you're saying you want to, you're not afraid to, talk about it.
No, not anymore. I mean, the first time I ever shared it with somebody was when a former student of mine was raped. And I talked to her and I tried to connect with her, but that was the first time I had ever shared my story with her, and it just wasn't where it needed to be yet, because I had been silent for so long.
Right.
And I hadn't.
Did it almost feel like, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't say I'm sorry because I cut you off anyway. So, but I had to say it because I might forget it now because it's in my head. But no, did it because you were you silent about it for so long? Did it even feel like your story still?
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, really? Okay.
There was
okay.
not, I don't think there was a day, like I can remember graphically everything.
Wow.
And you don't forget.
You don't forget. Okay, good. Okay. Okay.
But verbalizing it is a
Uh-huh.
whole different
Whole different animal, huh?
whole different animal.
Wow.
And for someone to hear that, because a year after I was raped, I tried to talk to some of my friends about it, and they didn't know what to say.
Wow.
And even people now, when they don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say. I don't know, when you first said over there, I was like, it's like when somebody...
It's because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. But it's like when somebody dies
Yeah.
and you go, and you want to console and all you can say is, I'm sorry or whatever. It's like, what do you say?
Yeah.
What do you say about that? You don't know what to say. So when you told us your story, what do you say? It's like it's a difficult one because there is nothing. I don't think there's anything anybody can say.
No, but I think that needs to stop because I think people need to understand the courage it takes to put yourself out there, because we don't want people to see us in that light.
Right.
But we have survived, and we're on the other side, and we're speaking, and we're done being silent.
So I like that. What does someone say? What is something? And let's say, and I'm asking you because you've been there.
Yeah.
What is something that you may want to hear from someone?
I think what I would like to hear is, if, for instance, what you could say is, if I ever know somebody who's been through something like that, I will now know how to emotionally connect with them.
Okay.
I will be able to listen and be there, and just be encouraging.
Okay.
Because there is so much guilt. And for me, there wasn't a need for it.
Right.
But because of our societal pressures that we put on ourselves, or religious pressures we put on ourselves, that keeps us from talking a lot of times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think most people really don't know what rape is. I think if we put a survey out there, I don't think a lot of people would really understand the definition of what it is, and I think that it would shock them.
I think so too.
And why we don't teach our kids. And that's another thing, we are silent for so long that we don't teach our boys and girls what it is.
Yeah.
So we can't prevent it if we're not talking about it.
Right.
And we can't help people who've been through it if we're not opening to listening to them.
I was after I listened to you talk, I was thinking about all the things that it had done to you, but not just to you, to other people who have been raped. And I was thinking about, I was like, to have your control taken from you, to, just disregard of your feelings. So I think just the rape, it's everything else that come along with it.
There's so much more.
And
I think that's why it's used in war. I've read about the rapes in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it's because it's the harshest punishment that can happen to a woman.
Yeah.
Beyond death.
Yeah, and I can see that because there's so many things that come with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me to be able to speak makes me feel like I at least conquered that beast.
Yeah. And that's what I like. You're not letting it control you.
No, and I had let it control me
for a long time. Yeah.
25 years.
Wow.
25 years. And always knowing he was walking around and like nothing ever happened. Not having that courage in that moment to say anything. But again, I didn't understand rape enough to really comprehend what on earth had happened to me. It was very difficult emotionally because was someone I loved.
I know.
And the capacity in which I loved this person, I couldn't comprehend the evilness that was on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And so that took like a year to put together.
Yeah, that would be hard to process.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's why, coming back to the gym, a lot of that I was able to work all that out.
Really? Okay.
And that was one huge step for me.
Yeah.
To be here and work on myself physically and again mentally. This was a huge puzzle piece for me, as well as some other things that I did to help along the way.
Right.
I can't imagine if I didn't have the gym.
Wow. Well, I'm just so glad that it's here for you.
Well, I'm glad you're here too. You've put up with me for a couple of years. The times where I've been like beating the sledgehammer.
Hey, that's okay.
Crying.
That's what it's for, though.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. I mean, just I always say this place is here. We here challenge you physically, mentally, and emotionally. But people already come here with with physical and mental and emotional things going on, and and we work them out.
We do.
And it's crazy. I love it.
And and it's been amazing. Like we talked about, we help each other here.
Yeah. I have like we call it almost like our welcoming committee, with some
So
of the
true.
women here, somebody walk in the door, they welcome them on in.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
It is.
Because I don't even have to say things sometimes. I don't have to say anything, I had the welcoming committee. They say, this is this and this is that.
Yeah.
And here's Kenny. He somewhat owns the place.
Well, you've just been remarkable. Just
It's
everything
funny.
that you've helped people to do, and I've watched you along the way.
Thanks.
I'm a huge observer. I'm not a big talker, but I've watched people along the journey and just seeing you be there for them in whatever capacity is needed at the time. One day it's one thing, the next it's something completely different.
Something completely different. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And I've learned so much from you and what you've done, and I've loved seeing you push yourself because that pushes me.
Oh.
That's what I love. I love learning from others and
that's great.
taking that in.
And that's what we do, baby.
Yeah.
Well, Tammy, I appreciate you coming on this podcast. I appreciate you doing it. I appreciate you sharing what you shared. Sharing, part of your story and everything else. And y'all know that I set up speaking engagements sometimes, and if Tammy's out speaking with me, you need to hear her story. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to listen to, but if you're talking about inspiration and perseverance and anything like that, good story to hear. Good story to hear, because where you're at now and where you came from, I don't think everybody could survive that, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
It's been fun.
All right. So we'll holler at y'all later. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and we'll see you when we see you.